Welcome to This Wasn't on the Test, the podcast where knowledge meets humor in the most unexpected ways. Join Dr. Jake and Dr. Kayla, a couple with doctorates in their respective fields, and their sister Kelsey, who may not have a PhD but sure knows how to keep things light with her quick humor and relatable take on the world. Whether you're a scholar or just a curious mind, this trio will make you laugh, think, and you might even learn something new. Tune in to find out why this wasn't on the test. Hello, welcome back to This Wasn't on the Test. I'm Kelsey, and I'm here with the doctors, my brother Jake and his wife Kayla.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Pretty good.
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 Is the hamster still alive?
The hamster is still alive.
For now.
Is the hamster still living in your house?
Yes.
It's still living in our house.
Is the hamster ready for me to let it free on May 3rd?
Emmy will kill you. She will murder you. She's obsessed with this thing. She and her friend even took it upon themselves to change out the bedding by themselves. She's done real well.
She's done pretty good.
See,
Wow.
even
What's its name again? Veronica?
So close. It's Lydia.
Oh,
Lydia the hamster.
that's my ex-sister-in-law's name.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
now you're stuck with me. So
You can replace that memory with a better one.
I'll say
Not
hamster,
a
hamster.
hamster.
hamster wins.
I actually did really like her, but
Dang.
here we are with the
Association.
hamster, Lydia.
Listen, I have to, Jake removed all of the fun things that I've been playing with on his desk. I came in here today and they're all gone.
I don't blame him because it's fucking annoying when you're digging all over the desk. Jesus.
I can't help it. And I come in today and they're all gone. I'm like, did you remove all that on purpose? And he goes, yep.
It was good motivation to actually tidy my desk up a little bit.
What,
Yeah,
is that
for you.
my wife is annoying, so I
Yep.
must clean the desk?
Yep.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, okay, this is episode 4 now. By the time tomorrow, our 3rd episode is going to be live. I think it's one of our best ones yet. We've only done 3, but it's
Everyone's
only
better than the
upward
previous
from here.
one. Yeah.
Everyone is better than the previous one. I have a lot of friends that are starting to tune in. And it's been really fun. I got a text message this weekend from a girlfriend that was sent me a screenshot, and she's like, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh yes, that's me and my siblings." So I think we've had a pretty decent amount of downloads. Honestly, I was sure that we would be sitting at 10 downloads for
Well, 3 episodes
months.
times 3
Right.
people is about 9 downloads.
Right.
No.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I did promise that I would shout out my 8th graders. Some of my 8th graders at one of my schools we were talking about, so we were making fun of one of the kids, and it was something about gravity, and I'm like, you can learn a lot about gravity in the episode of my podcast, and I just said it kind of flippantly and jokingly, and 2 of them are like, wait, you have a podcast? When were you going to tell us about this? Is this a real thing? Can we listen to it? What's the name of the podcast? It was this whole thing. And they're like, if we listen to it, will you shout us out in your podcast? And I'm like, I guess. And they come back the next day we listened to your podcast last night.
Ayo, shout out to the 8th graders.
Ayo.
Welcome to the club. We can tell you that this wasn't on the test.
Also, it keeps coming up where stuff that we talked about just comes up in different things. We were watching Jeopardy today, and there's a question. I mean, it was a pretty easy question, but still it came up about gravity.
About gravity, yep.
So technical difficulties, we're back. We were talking about, I had started saying that stuff that we've talked about last couple episodes keeps coming up in our day-to-day lives. So I was curious if that had happened to you at all, Kelsey.
It does actually. A couple times, people have said things about gravity, or I've heard things about gravity specifically. Also, I work in higher education, and I do a lot of scheduling and stuff with my job, and so a lot of times things have been brought up for FY 27 now we're starting to talk about, and we're already talking into those semesters and stuff, and so it's just wild the conversations that I've had. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy, because if we're planning like this, primary schools are planning already. So
I have a meeting on Wednesday about schedules for next year.
yeah, that's wild.
I have a meeting on Wednesday. We've got our transition night for our GT kids that are like 5th graders transitioning from elementary GT to middle school GT. That's tomorrow night. No, we're heavy into the into testing season.
Oh yeah, we're coming up on it too for Zeke's school.
It's the worst.
So he's not quite old enough to test though. They do like star testing or something, and he always like scores really high on all of it, and then it doesn't really like translate into anything because he's in 2nd grade. Like, what is it going to translate into? You know,
right?
Like
here we start formal testing in 3rd grade here in Kentucky.
I think that's when like there's like a PBIS or something. Yeah. So yeah, I have for sure experienced that, and then like even today with like the space shuttle going to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to the moon. I didn't go to the moon.
Girl.
Did not go to the moon.
She hasn't been paying attention.
But it was a Blue Origin rocket launch.
Yes, with Katy Perry riding on
Full
it.
female crew, which is pretty cool.
Yes. That is cool.
It was very cool. But then I was starting to think like
the dick-shaped rockets.
I can't even get across town in
those
11
are
minutes.
Bezos's.
How did they get into space
rockets.
in 11 minutes?
Big blue penis.
If you haven't seen them, Kelsey.
What?
Have you seen
I haven't seen what?
the Blue Origin rockets? What they look like?
Oh yeah. They look like penises. 100% flying through the sky. Yeah, love it. I'm here for it. Like shoot one of those things anywhere near me.
And
get me on that rocket ship.
Literally, metaphorically, are you
I don't know,
trying
to the moon, baby.
You trying to invest in some, self-care accoutrements?
I have self-care accoutrements. I don't need self-care accoutrements. But if Jeff Bezos wants to give me a ride, I'm here for it.
Is it? We don't like Jeff Bezos anymore, though.
I know we don't. I'm just saying. But anyways, so yeah, that going to the moon, but I was very not to the moon. Why do I keep on thinking it's going to the moon?
No one is going to the moon, Kelsey.
The moon. Okay, but why
They're planning another moon mission.
Are they really like NASA?
Yeah, NASA.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just checking.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
I have like a very serious question that I don't understand about science. How is it possible? I mean, girl. How is it possible though that like, okay, a couple weeks ago, Elon Musk sent a space shuttle up and it blew up right away, right? Now we just sent a different shuttle up and it like just went above the Earth's crust, right? Like, and we have been to the moon. Like, why aren't we going to the moon all the time if we can get outside of our atmosphere? Like, I cannot comprehend it.
Yeah, you're underestimating how difficult that is, the scale of the difficulty.
How did Katy Perry do it?
Katy
she
Perry
didn't go to the moon,
shit.
first of all.
Number one.
I don't even think they went into orbit. Like, there's multiple. We could do a whole episode on this. It's just the scales of space travel. Like, as far as I know, they just went up and came down. And
like
getting to orbit.
Went up to where? Are we talking about, like, what's the name of that?
62 miles.
62 miles.
What's the name of that one dude that went up, like...
Felix Baumgartner?
Felix Baumgartner. How far up did he go?
That high. He was... We can look it up.
You knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The
in his little like Red Bull capsule, then he jumped down.
Yeah.
Look at me knowing stuff.
Wow. We should talk about that. That would be a really interesting podcast topic to talk about all of that.
For sure.
39 kilometers is Felix Baumgartner.
So 24 miles.
Yeah.
Ish.
That's still a heck of a way up there, but
yeah, I'm just like still confused about like how seamlessly like these people who have no training at all to be in space are going on these missions. I know, I realize it's like for minutes, but like, and then they come back to Earth. Like, it's so, I'm bamboozled.
Well, they're not doing anything. Somebody in a control room presses a button and then the computers just do everything.
I have no desire to do that ever.
I do.
I would.
I love that for you. The two of you can go and I will stay with the children. No. Yeah. I just like the whole time I'd be thinking about like Apollo 13 and Challenger and what was the one when we were in like middle school? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Columbia.
I'd be thinking about all those the whole entire time. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
You would need some like heavy drugs to get through that.
And then by then, what's the point? Like, I'm not going to spend that kind of money to just be like hooped up on Valium the whole time.
I would spend zero money to be hooped up on Valium and go into space. And if it costs $300,000, I guess who cares? If you have that
This
kind of
just
money.
feels very much like the rich people doing dumb shit. Like let's
right.
you know, let's go visit the Titanic. Let's go up in an Amazon rocket. Like
Yeah,
no,
that's a whole conversation too. SpaceX is really good though at what they do. Why are you giving me eyes?
I know.
SpaceX is really
I
good at
know
what they
owned
do.
by Elon Musk.
That's what.
Yeah,
the
but
eyes
that
are
doesn't
for.
mean that they're not good at what they do. He has
True.
zero contribution to what actually happens to that company, like from a technical level.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I
I'll
get
let it
that.
pass.
I just
But it is crazy. Like these
like
people are spending
SpaceX, they literally
$300,000.
press one button, and then their ship docks at the International Space Station.
Well, and it's cool too how there's lands back, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they've done a bunch of stuff. They've got reusable rockets now
there we go, reusable rockets.
that land by themselves. They've got the chopsticks method now, where they can grab the rocket out of the air.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's a new thing that they started doing in the last year or so. The rocket comes down, and then a thing comes out, and it grabs onto the rocket while it's coming down.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, it is. Blue Origin, they're back. All they do is send the rocket up, and then the capsule comes down with a parachute. That's the real just rich people doing dumb rich people stuff.
Right.
Well, I think
yeah, and it's crazy to think. It's crazy to think about the amount of money that they all spent to do that, and like the current state of our economy and everything going on. It's like, okay, cool, good for you, But Katy Perry had that full glam going up into space. So
yeah.
Listen, if I was going into space, I'd go up into space full glam, for sure. I'd go get my nails done ahead of time, and they'd have like stars and planets and shit on them.
Yeah, I mean, SpaceX is trying to actually participate in the science part of space.
No, I agree with you
exploration, advancement, and stuff like that. Blue Origin is just let's spend as much money and do something that's super exclusive. Just put a ton of rocket fuel on the back of this thing and ignite it, and then come back down. At this point, at least.
So what you're saying is we could do this in your mom's backyard this summer.
With enough
strap a ton of rocket fuel to one of the kiddie pools. Put one of the children in it.
Pool full rocket fuel.
Kiddie pool full of rocket fuel.
Put a lawn chair.
Strap Kelsey into a lawn chair.
Strap me in, baby.
This is good. I love this plan. Jake wouldn't let me.
People have killed themselves with trying to make their own rockets and stuff.
Oh yeah, or the people with the
including flat Earth people.
Dude,
I'm gonna build my own rocket.
Hey, bro.
And I'll launch myself up,
that science
and then
is fake.
I'll see that the Earth is flat when I get up high enough, and then they blow themselves up.
Or the dude with the weather balloon lawn chair.
Well, that was just a hoax thing.
No, but didn't that actually happened?
Yes, it happened.
Okay. No, speaking of the backyard this summer, I have purchased from a peddler's mall a trophy for our unhinged games. It is the
you did.
It is like the James T. Stifton basketball trophy from 1986 or something. It really is.
Jake, you need to buy a soldering iron or something that you can
so
engrave
funny.
into metal for us.
No, we're leaving it as the James T.
Mom's
Tifton.
got Dremels.
Mom does have Dremels.
True, with a diamond bit. That's amazing. How can we secure the Viking hat to it?
Ooh, we could secure. It's not a very big one. It's
fuck. No. Who doesn't want a big one?
Because I couldn't find a big one. This is just I just needed something.
Names in. I agree on that. But
yeah,
the
trophy
should stay as it is.
Yeah, that's true. We should collect a bunch of different trophies and then glue them all together.
The mega trophy.
I was gonna say we need something like the Stanley Cup, where the top part attaches to a lower thing that has all the.
I was thinking we just cut a log and just carve our names in every year and just
log,
hot glue the trophy to the top. Come on, man. Okay, fine. We'll get one of the old school metal Folgers coffee cans.
That's a better idea.
And we'll just Sharpie our names into the side.
Yeah, that's cool. And we got to do a back date because I did win last year.
I won
not
at
officially
Christmas.
recognized.
I won at Christmas. I won at Christmas, and I bought the trophy, so my name goes on it first.
Oh, fuck, bitch.
Actually, I
Okay.
spent a whole $4.88.
Wow.
I was pumped. I'm so excited.
That's very exciting.
Actually,
that's good news.
This is how I kept the preteens occupied and leaving the preteen moms alone at the Peddler's Mall, is I sent them on this mission to find me a trophy. I'm like,
You have preteen moms traveling with you?
I have we have all the like little preteen girls, all of us moms hang
The
out.
moms. Oh.
The moms of the preteens.
That you're meaning there was like a bunch of 12-year-olds that are pregnant.
No, the moms of the preteens. It's like my mom gang.
Yep.
But
cool.
as I tell them regularly, they're all very much older than me.
Mm-hmm. Just like you guys are very much older than me. All right, should we get into our topics?
Yep.
I do have to say I'm not feeling very funny today because it's just, life. And so I made myself a vodka soda and it's almost gone already. So
she's about to be real funny.
Yeah. I gotta, something's gotta give.
You got this.
I don't remember. Wait, one more thing really quick.
Okay.
Can we address the fact that your 8th graders are listening?
I love that. Yes.
I think we did.
They're listening, but they haven't followed us on Instagram yet.
That's true.
Rude.
We do need the followers.
I don't know that I
We
told
need
them that we were on
followers.
Instagram. That might have been my bad.
Well,
We're on everything.
We're on
I
everything.
know.
Tell them to follow us.
I know.
At This Wasn't on the Podcast.
YouTube would
That's
help.
our Instagram handle.
That's not
YouTube would
that.
help.
That was not our Instagram handle.
What do you mean?
You just said at This Wasn't on the Podcast.
This wasn't on the test podcast.
It's just at This Wasn't on the Test.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yep.
We can do this.
That's the handle. So all you 8th graders that are listening, that are getting smarter because we're very smart,
Super fun.
follow us on Instagram
And
okay? 'Cause
subscribe
we need
on
the
YouTube.
followers.
Wouldn't help too.
And subscribe on YouTube because that's how we can make money, honey.
Listen,
Okay.
listen, 8th graders. You always asking me if I have food. You're always wanting my snacks. You want me to have food for you, I got to have money for the food. In order to have money, you got to subscribe to my podcast. Okay.
That's right. Cool. Now that that's out of the way, Jake's the topic. I do have to say, going into this week, I don't even remember what the topic is. Oh, we're talking about the atomic bomb.
Yes.
Yep.
Jake, can we just, for 1 second, talk about the fucking thing that Jake sent us this week? He sends in our group chat a message that said, you guys will need to reference this for what we're talking about this week. I'm sorry. I can't even read
You
it.
need to do some studying.
What?
Honestly,
what?
The important part is the shape of the line on there. That's really
Okay.
the important thing. You didn't. I'll go over the other stuff. I just wanted you to
Okay.
be familiar with the shape of the line on that graph. So
Okay.
when I talk about it, you know what the shape looks like.
Cool. We'll
Yeah.
post a photo of what it is that he sent us.
Yeah, I'll put
Maybe
I'll put a link to Hyperphysics, which is a pretty well-known website for physics stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So, anyways, Jake, do you want to take it away with the atomic bomb?
yeah. So first of all, I just want to say I don't want to talk about the Manhattan Project a whole lot because there's like a lot of stuff into that. About like practicality of manufacturing materials and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to stick to the physics about it.
Okay.
And Oppenheimer, the movie, actually did a really good job portraying like the different things that they had to overcome from a like practical standpoint.
The logistics.
Okay.
Logistics. So like I just want to try to stick to the physics part of it. So
Lame.
you have any? I mean, we can talk about
Valid.
it. I'm just saying like, oh, but how did they do that? I'm like,
Right. Right. No,
Yeah.
I get you.
how did they get enough of it? Like, well,
I just like the Oppenheimer movie, so
Oppenheimer was great.
It was great.
Highly
I
recommend it.
have seen that and I did like it.
Yeah. So, again, well, I think first of all, you thankfully didn't give me a math heavy topic, so I think you all are going to be
Yay.
a lot more satisfied in that
Thank
regard.
God. Oh my God.
Kelsey, we
Lord.
did it.
But like,
Yay.
you know, we always have to kind of build up to the topic a little bit. So, but I just want to, for my first question, I just want to know what do you know about nuclear reactors in terms of like how they generate energy?
Listen.
Actually, I know you did a whole topic like
I teach a
thing
whole
about it.
science unit every 3 years on nuclear energy. We're on 3-year rotations of the units that we teach for GT. And one of my units, from my first year of GT and also my next year unit, is on nuclear energy. So I know a bit. I know a little bit.
So nobody cares about what you know.
Cool.
Everybody wants to know what I know about it.
Yes, we do.
I know nothing about it. What is it? No clue.
Wow.
You just know that the reactors exist somewhere. And we get
I mean,
power
if somebody
like
would have...
electricity.
No.
Have you seen, Kelsey, very important question. Do you have HBO
Yes.
Max?
I have your HBO Max.
Of course you do. Good. Now that you're mooching off of me, you're going to go and watch Chernobyl.
Yeah, Chernobyl is amazing too.
It's incredible.
Okay.
It's a miniseries. I think there's 7 episodes?
6 or 7 somewhere
Ish.
in there. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Okay. I'll watch it.
And it will teach you.
Catch it on your recently watched list.
I mean, it's just going to show up. If you look it on mine, you can watch it on my watch again list because I think I've seen it about 4 times now.
Okay. I'll watch it this week. I promise.
So, okay. Back to the question of the nuclear energy.
Mhm.
So, nuclear energy is it? It's late.
NUCLE.
LEAR. No, my question was is most nuclear energy produced by nuclear fusion or nuclear fission?
Is that you're asking me?
I'm asking you.
Fission.
Nuclear fission.
Yeah.
Okay. So then essentially, if we boil it way down, it's they use the steam from the heat from the right? I'm on this. Okay.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
So when it's nuclear fission, it's like the combining of the atoms on a isn't it?
No.
No, fission is the splitting of the atoms. And the energy that's created from splitting the atoms heats water, which then produces steam, which then and that's how you develop energy from this nuclear reaction.
So just like wind energy, there's a turbine inside the nuclear reactors.
See,
When the material undergoes fission, generates heat, which heats up the water, which then produces steam, which turns the turbines, which turns into electricity.
Yay, look at it.
So that's very high level.
Well, I looked up the definition of nuclear. And I thought that the rule was to not use the word in the definition because I still don't understand. I just want to know what the definition of nuclear is. What does that mean? And it says relating to the nucleus of an atom.
Yeah.
What is nucleus?
The center of it. The middle.
Oh.
The heart.
Oh, I see. Cool.
You should have learned that
Moving
in about
along.
8th grade science.
I skipped 8th grade science.
Skipped as in physically skipped class during that class.
All
Yeah,
of
do you
the
want to know what I
above.
was doing?
Probably making out with someone in the bathroom.
No, on the trail behind the
There
school.
it is. Okay.
So yeah, that is at the high level how nuclear reactors work. But the thing I want you to think about is what's happening to get that energy. And so the typical thing that gets harnessed with nuclear reactors is neutrons being ejected when fission interactions happen. So when when the material splits, they turn into other elements that are lighter than the original one, and then they will also have neutrons that come out.
Are the neutrons specifically what create the heat, the energy in the form of heat?
More or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about the next question right away. Is what releases more energy, fission or fusion?
No clue.
Isn't it fission?
Is that what you think?
I'm
I
going to
don't
say
know.
it's fusion.
Kelsey, you got one right, and Kelsey and Kayla got it
ding,
wrong.
Ding, 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 ding.
Good job.
We have a winner. It's me.
Oh my god! You literally only guessed that because I said the other.
I know. I saw Jake's deadpan look at you.
That's just how he always looks at me. That's just his face towards me.
But the problem is that fusion is a lot harder to do. With fission, there's elements that are they're unstable, and so they just over time will split by themselves. Or they can also be helped,
Okay.
kind of encouraged.
Confession time.
Mm-hmm.
I, for whatever reason, am having a hard time keeping fission and fusion straight in my head, and I know the difference. So when I gave that answer, I knew the answer that I wanted to give. And I gave the wrong one.
Okay.
No,
We believe you.
Mm-hmm. That's what they all say.
Okay, whatever. This isn't on the test, so I don't care. Whatever.
So like what I was saying was that fusion is much harder to happen. And this is going to have to do with that chart that I'm talking about. So just to try to give an explanation for listeners is this is a chart of binding energy for atoms based on the number of nucleons, so number of particles inside of the nucleus. And on the left side of the chart is a very steep slope, and then
it goes up very quickly.
Very quickly, and
then just kind of curves over and goes down so subtly it's almost a plateau.
Yeah, so it's not flat. Definitely not flat.
No.
But it goes up sharply and then bends over, and then
it's like an elbow in the top left corner of the graph.
Yep. And then just kind of gradually falls off. And this is actually explains why you get more energy out of fusion than fission. And that's because if you look at any 2 points, you get the energy out of the difference between the heights on the graph. So like
I'm going to need you to say that again, but differently.
Yeah. It's hard without having a visual. So if you, I should say that at that elbow is a very specific point. That's where iron is. And
like the element iron.
Yep. That's because iron like cannot be broken apart, cannot fuse with anything. I'm very much simplifying that statement. But essentially that's the central point where it kind of turns. So the things that are heavier than iron are things that will like split, and anything lighter than iron will fuse.
Okay.
So that's like the sun is fusing hydrogen into helium constantly, and that's why it's so powerful. But then you have like radioactive isotopes like uranium, we're going to talk about, that will just spontaneously split, but without not nearly as much energy as like the sun undergoing fusion. And so that elbow is important because you're kind of traveling towards that point to get the energy out. So to the right of iron is the heavier elements. And so when you split, you're making lighter elements. So you're going from the far right more towards the left when you're undergoing fission. And so here I can kind of point on the on the graph for Kayla at least.
I am looking at it as you're talking. So where you're pointing is at the...
So you start like there to the right, and when you undergo fission, you end up with product to the left of that.
Okay.
Because you went up on that curve, the difference in the height from where you started and from where you ended up is the amount of energy that's extra.
Got it. That's not much.
So that's why fission has a lot less energies, because the binding energies like per thing in the atom are a lot closer. And so but it's still lighter or still less, and so you get that extra energy out.
So why is fusion so much harder to make happen than fission? Is it just because like fission can happen spontaneously? Like does fusion happen spontaneously the way fission
not
does?
Spontaneously. I mean, you kind of have to force the things together.
Okay.
But it's because of that binding energy. So from here to here, on the left side of the graph, that jump is so high.
Right.
It takes that much more energy to keep the atoms together.
Got it.
To simplify it.
Hey, I'm here for a simple explanation.
For real.
So as far as like these reactions as it applies to like the atom bomb, when things, so we're gonna kind of forget fusion now for pretty much the rest of the topic. We're talking about these particles that are splitting, and then they split into lighter things, and you get extra neutrons, which go free, essentially. And so when
in fission,
okay, yeah. So when
wow,
I got it right. I said the right one this time. Jeez.
So when like a heavy atom splits into multiple lighter things and they get free neutrons, that neutron is free to go to do whatever, essentially. So it either gets like goes off and escapes the system all entirely, and you just never hear from it again. Or it can get absorbed by another thing, or it can like collide with another thing. And so what can happen is a chain reaction. So I said it kind of a little bit ago about how that in fission, that the fission process can be helped by other things. So like essentially what happens is that you have one particle that undergoes fission and you get an extra neutron. That neutron goes on and hits another big particle, which splits that one. That one splits again, and has an extra neutron, and like so on and so on, where the neutrons just keep on bouncing as they get released in the fission processes.
So you have like a cascading effect.
Yeah, chain reaction is what they call it.
So, okay, I know the answer as it pertains to nuclear reactors, but is there like a measure in play? Like, how do you stop it from just continuing on endlessly?
So this is the next question that I'm going to have, and how it relates to your question you just asked is something called critical mass.
Okay.
Based just on that terminology, what do you think critical mass means?
Ooh, I know so much about mass now.
Go ahead, Kelsey.
It's like the important part of how much something is mass.
That's maybe explanation of mass. This is a term relating to nuclear reactions.
Okay. Does it have to do with like the mass of whatever is like nuclear inside of like an atom bomb, atomic bomb, like the mass of whatever it is making it up? I was saying like it's like the mass of like the amount of like whatever it is that makes up the atomic bomb. That's like the only way I can relate to it. It's like the mass of whatever it is that's like adding into it.
I like where you're thinking.
I'm wrong.
The word mass is kind of misleading you.
Okay, I see.
Can I take a stab at
it?
it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so isn't like critical mass like in terms of nuclear reactors is like the most reactions that can take place before like oh shit. It's like the oh shit moment where like this is as much as we can handle before it's about to go south.
Yeah. So critical mass is like the
Boom.
density of your material to where those neutrons just keep on bouncing into each other and the reactions just keep on happening. So below that, so like the material is not as dense, usually described in terms of density. And so when the fission happens, the neutrons like either have to like travel further to get to the next particle that they might hit. So like the things just aren't as compact, so that the energy gets kind of dissipated before another one of those bowling ball kind of hits onto another particle happens. So like critical mass is the point where the material is compact to the point where you can't stop the reaction from just continuing to chain and just ends up exploding. So
that's why it's so massive, is because it just continues to chain and just chains and chains and chains and then makes this massive.
Yeah. So pretty much the only option after you've reached critical mass is to convert everything into kinetic energy, which means an explosion, essentially.
Okay, I see.
Is this where we get is this the point in which we get like a bomb?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the goal in creating an atomic bomb is to create a situation where they reach that critical mass.
And crucially control it.
Okay.
So they have to like come up with this system to make that happen, where you've got an assembly that goes from a system that is reacting but hasn't reached critical mass, and then takes some sort of action at the appropriate time to reach critical mass so that the chain reactions happen and explode. So in terms of the atomic bomb, I guess we can move on to that. There's a lot going on here in terms of construction of how they do this. But
in terms of, are we talking like
so
literal physical construction, or are we talking about like physics and atoms construction?
Both, really.
Oh, okay.
But the main point I think that you get is that this all is driven by atoms splitting and releasing neutrons that are colliding into other atoms that are causing more and more.
And then splitting, and then
that's like the main thing.
Okay.
So with the atom bombs, they actually came up with two different methods for causing this, and the first is a gun type. And so essentially they have like some material at one end and then more material at the other end, and then they just kind of shoot it together to cause a more
reactions.
like denser thing, like because then you shoot it, like you're compressing the material into the other set of piece of material, which I think is it lowering the critical mass? Essentially it like changes the critical mass equation, and like just by pushing that material together. And actually the one thing I'll say about the Manhattan Project was that they actually thought that this was so simple that they didn't even test it.
Didn't
Manhattan
even test what?
The gun type of the atom bomb.
Like, this one's too easy, we're not going to do it?
Yep, they're just like, here's how you do it. It's a weaker version.
Okay.
But it's yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they're just like, oh, it's simple. You just have like this chunk of uranium and this like cone of uranium. You just fire the cone into the other chunk and boom. So they're just like, we're not going to waste the material, and we know it's going to work, but it's not as big of an explosion. So they didn't, like, as far as
it'll work, not a big enough explosion. Yeah. Moving on.
So
wait, how do you come upon a chunk of uranium? Asking for
well, you go to the uranium store.
Yeah. Well,
is that housed in Uranus?
That's what I was saying. I was going to ignore about that's kind of the key, is them being able to manufacture that.
Okay, I'm going to need like a very brief.
I read it, but I didn't write it down.
Wait, can I say something really quick?
They had factories essentially that just can refine uranium.
But do they get the uranium from Uranus, like, for real?
No.
Nobody's ever been to Uranus.
No.
Nobody's been to Uranus.
Beg to differ.
Well, okay. This is...
Sorry.
This is there are children listening, Kelsey.
Well, that's not my fault. You're the one that invited the children.
I didn't invite them. It just happened, okay? Like, listen.
Well, I'm not changing my language for these children. They can be mature enough to laugh a little bit and then move along.
Just enjoy the fun. Move on.
Jake hates us. Keep on going.
Well, I'm trying to get through this whole content without going for an hour.
Well, how many years would you say you've hated us collectively?
Never hated you at all. So.
Aww.
No.
What about me?
She's 30.
Yeah, 23
for the record.
Years. No.
27 years. So in the last 4 years, would you say you like me a lot more?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean,
in the last
just on that
specifically 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I like myself a lot more too.
All right, Jake, back to your topic.
So that was like the gun type uranium bomb was the simple one, just not as strong as they knew that they could make. So the other one is called an implosion type bomb.
I'm assuming that's what they went with.
Okay,
wait. Okay, never mind. You continue.
They went with both.
Oh.
One of the bombs dropped on, I forget which is which. I think the first one was the gun type, and then the second one was the implosion type.
Really?
Yeah, they dropped one of each.
But I thought they said it wasn't going to be strong enough.
Strong enough is relative.
Well, okay.
Strong enough to destroy a city, just not as strong enough to make the statement that they wanted to make. That's, yeah.
Feels like we could have a whole secondary episode on the ethics.
I mean, and we're not even talking about the hydrogen bomb.
Oh, shit. Should I put that on the list?
Which is even more, like, strong.
Oh, fuck.
This, okay. Again, they go over all this in Oppenheimer actually really well.
I'm going to need to rewatch this after this episode.
What was dropped on Hiroshima?
What?
Hiroshima
and Nagasaki. I forget which was which.
Hiroshima was first.
Yeah.
Hiroshima
would have been the gun type.
I think it was the gun type that was dropped on Hiroshima. But I can't remember.
There's Hiroshima and then there's Iwo Jima, which were both in
island.
World War II. Completely separate events.
So I just combined them.
Yes, you did.
Hiroshima.
Get out of here.
But any case, so the thing is, plutonium gives a stronger, like, you can make a stronger bomb, but it couldn't be used for the gun type because it's so radioactive that it splits by itself, and essentially it just
So they could have had an accidental explosion.
Well, it doesn't reach critical mass. That's the problem. Actually,
okay.
it reacts so much
That it never gets to
that
that
they
point.
couldn't. Yeah, basically, yeah. So they had to come up with another way that they could cause that to happen with plutonium, and so they did a couple. There's a couple things with the construction here. One thing that they had to do was they call them initiator, and so you have the center core of plutonium, and it's like a hollow sphere, so it's like a shell essentially with a hollow center. I
Is it
remember,
like a Kinder egg.
yeah, actually, remember that
Ooh.
density plays into this. So like you have a sphere that's a larger radius that's hollow, so it's
Mhm.
less dense, and that's key. And so then they surround that with another shell of polonium and beryllium, and essentially those two things together are going to provide neutrons for the thing. So basically you want to be able to control when the neutrons come in to the plutonium. And so you have polonium and beryllium which come in contact. Polonium which emits alpha particles, and then beryllium which absorbs alpha particles. Ignore that, please. But when that process happens, it emits neutrons. So
So they cancel each other out.
one
But
thing, I wouldn't say cancel each other out, but
Okay.
like emits alpha particles and then absorbs alpha particles to get a lot of neutrons. So you have that on the outside of the plutonium, and then you have conventional explosives on the outside. So I don't know what it was, but essentially like TNT,
they're like dynamite.
dynamite,
Are they like Wile E. Coyoteing this thing?
pretty much.
Like,
No, but the timing had to be very
Wow.
precise. But essentially, like the timing of this all had to be specific so that the explosion on the outside compressed everything, and so it spontaneously like reduced the radius of that sphere of plutonium into a more dense like sphere of material. And then at the same time, that polonium and beryllium are getting forced together, causing all the neutrons. So like when the outside explosion happens, it compresses everything and also like gives you the extra burst of neutrons towards the plutonium. So it's becoming more dense with lots of neutrons on it, which then undergoes like gets to the point where it reaches critical mass and explodes.
so it's like the dynamite. That's like the dynamite essentially triggers the whole. I mean, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word.
But they had to like make this in like concentric
Right.
sphere around the whole thing, because like if you don't have it all compressed at the same time, you can think like, like you basically leak out energy out of a spot, and like you just lose the symmetricness to like compress it all down into one spot.
Then
So
it like doesn't chain react, right?
that's a risk, yes.
Or doesn't chain
Okay,
react as
I see.
powerfully.
Right.
So essentially, it's so powerful because it chain reacts, and if something stops the chain reaction from happening, that's why it doesn't get
Yeah.
as big.
And they were worried about that happening. Like they thought that, it was a real risk that as it was dropping and triggered, something would go wrong where the critical mass doesn't get reached. And so then you just basically like canned a constructed atomic bomb to your enemy,
Oh shit!
essentially.
I didn't
So
even think about. Yeah.
that the implosion type is the
Wow.
one that they did test. That's the Trinity test that they were able to work. But yeah, like a lot of this is like, what are the odds that this is gonna fizzle out? So that's just the Manhattan Project altogether was really insane. I mean, you had, I don't even know the number, but dozens, maybe hundreds of pretty much every physicist of note in the United States during World War II working on it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pop quiz.
Mm.
Would you have worked on it if you were a physicist in the United States at that time?
I mean, how physics works is a whole different thing at the time, than
I'm
now.
asking you.
Do I think I could have? I mean, I think I could have probably.
Like ethically.
Oh, I don't know. That's a whole different question.
I mean, that is the question I'm asking. Like,
Isn't there a scene in Oppenheimer where they're like looking over that lake? Like it's like they keep on going back to that lake, and it's like the turmoil, right?
Well,
I mean-
it's really hard to put yourself in the place of, you're trying to defeat the Axis, right? Like and you know that they're working on the same thing. I think that was kind of part of it. And Oppenheimer is like, well, they're definitely going to use it if they get it. You know, I mean, it's been a deterrent since then.
What is the half-life on something like that? Like, are those cities still like radioactive?
Well, uranium half-life is like still in the order of millions of years.
So are those cities still like uninhabitable?
Wow.
No, I think there's people living there.
Okay.
Fallout
Do they
is
have, like, a
different
third
than like
arm,
half
or, like-
life.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Okay.
what is-
Interesting.
I just don't know.
Okay.
Can we do another episode one of these days on the like effects that like nuclear energy or like nuclear power would have on our existence?
Yes, but only if you watch Chernobyl
Yeah, you're
first.
gonna have to watch Chernobyl. It's a big part of it.
Okay.
Let us know
okay.
when you're done, and then we'll do it. Because for real, it will help the discussion.
Yeah. What streaming service is it on? Because I mooch a couple
Max.
off of
It's
you
on
guys.
Max.
Okay.
It's incredible, but like that, like yeah, like I use 95% of that show when I teach nuclear energy. There are like 2 parts that I skip over.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the high level of how these reactions work and how the atomic bomb is constructed and how it works. So I think that's that.
Cool. So well, stay tuned because I'm assigning him more nuclear energy things ASAP.
For this next time, or just you're just putting that on the burner
No.
in general?
I'm just putting it on the burner in general because like I'm interested, but you guys told me I have to watch Chernobyl.
You do.
So
Yep.
now I'm gonna be busy. And maybe currently I'm binging Tell Me Lies. So maybe I'll take a break from that and then go into Chernobyl.
We're on the White Lotus. We're on White Lotus right now.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't gotten into that yet.
I'm into it, but I'm behind. Like I'm still on season 1. I got into it late.
Ooh, sure. All right, so great. Thanks, Jake. I am excited to give you some more topics relating to this because I'm interested. But we're gonna move on to Kayla, and I honestly don't remember what we even told you we were supposed to talk about. So
Good job.
let us know what you're talking about, and then we'll go into it.
We're talking about technology in the classroom.
Oh, cool. Okay,
You remember that
here we
now?
are. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're starting off hot with a question. You ready?
Oh God. Okay.
So
Yep.
this one should be a pretty easy one. My question is, what is the primary type of technology hardware used in the classroom?
Primary technology hardware used in a classroom.
Talking like physical piece of technology.
Calculator.
Eh,
No, that was a joke.
Okay.
I mean,
how about like laptops, right?
yes, ish. Typically, and it's going to differ from district to district. We use Chromebooks a ton. They're great. The Google Suite for Education is fantastic, and so all of that is kind of compatible with a Chromebook. So we have Chromebooks for days.
they're cheap.
Also that they're affordable, and they
Yeah.
for
They cost $193.
well, when you're trying to buy Chromebooks for 10,000
Yeah,
students,
we'd have to buy a lot of them on a budget.
right? And they're like relatively easy to repair, in my experience, in terms of like they will get damaged. We do send them off for repair, but it's never anything like it can usually be repaired. It's nothing major. So we have our district is more or less a 1-to-1 district. We have enough Chromebooks for every kid in the district. How that's managed differs from school to school. So I'm split between 2 schools, and they do it 2 different ways. One of my schools does like a sign out at the beginning of the year where every student has a Chromebook assigned to them that they keep the whole school year. And so they take it home, they charge it at home, they can do schoolwork at home, they bring it back with them, which, there's pros and cons to both methods. For that one, it's great because that student is responsible for that Chromebook. If something goes wrong, you know exactly who did it. On the downside,
Okay.
I cannot tell you how many days out of the week I get, my Chromebook's dead. And my question is always, why is your Chromebook dead? Well, I didn't charge it last night, or I can't find my charger, or my sister stole my charger, or it's the 21st century, my dog ate my homework. My Chromebook isn't charged.
Even though they use the standard USB charging thing, right? Yeah, they use USB-C.
Yeah. Correct. At my other school, we have every classroom has its own Chromebook cart. So in my room, I have 30 Chromebooks that stay in my room, and I have a list on top of my Chromebook cart that lists off like, okay, Chromebook number 1 during first period is for this student. Chromebook number 1 during second period is for this student. So they all know which one is assigned to them. Makes it easier to narrow down when someone's done something stupid. But then they don't get to take it home with them. That kind of limits technology access at home, but it makes it easier for, like, they're always charged because they get plugged in every day. They're in my room.
So Jake and I went to like a charter school, like our elementary school was a charter school growing up.
Oh.
And I don't know about you, Jake. I don't know if it maybe started with me or my grade or whatever, but we had like a MacBook essential like station where all of our MacBooks were plugged in. And it was like that, like it was always charged and then we got to use them. But what do you prefer as an educator?
I think it's I like the keeping them in the classroom too, because then the other thing is when we're going to get to in a minute talking about like managing student use. If we don't need them, I can be like, we're done with Chromebooks for today. Go put them away. And they go back into the cart.
Oh.
They're done. We're finished.
Sure.
Or if we don't need them on a particular day, I just, don't get your Chromebooks today. We don't need them. And then it kind of eliminates that level of distraction and you don't have to worry about, well, it's not charged. I left it at home. It's broken. It's like, it's always there. It always works.
Yeah.
So, but then you do have to manage that getting out and putting away every class period all day long. So it's like, I mean, it really is kind of a 50-50 shot in terms of what works better. Like it's pros and cons either way.
Yeah, definitely.
My other favorite, so I've got my whole topic divided into like hardware versus software. So the other big one that we use is our ViewSonic boards, which are essentially giant touchscreen TVs.
Okay. So like a smart board.
A smart
board. When I was in school, it was called a smart board.
These ones are more high tech than that, but same kind of concept where we, you use it for everything. It's linked to my computer. So my computer, I have dual monitors. So one of my monitors is hooked up to my ViewSonic board and one of them is not. So I've got the one that I'm working on and then I have that has like my email and stuff up on it. And then my other monitor will have whatever is being projected onto the ViewSonic board, and not projected. It's just there.
I was just going to ask, like, these aren't projectors anymore.
No, these are no longer projectors. Like, it is
projected in the sense that the cast is really more of the...
Right, yes. We cast from our computers over to there. Yeah, and this has actually been a pretty recent shift, like within the last 3 or 4 years. Before, previously they were called Promethean boards, which were like smart boards, but except for none of the smart features ever worked. So it was just like a very expensive projector screen. And then we had the projectors, and then the problem with those two is like the bulbs were constantly going out, the filters needed to be changed. It never failed that the day that you were having an observation would be the day that your bulb died on your projector. Never failed.
Do you guys have like a facilities team for your district?
We do.
Like people that you call or like put in tickets
Yep.
for?
And there we even have so to call anywhere in the district, there's a 4-digit number you can get.
Yeah.
If you're calling from a district phone to a district phone, it's a 4-digit extension, even if it's in a different building. So we have a technology help desk. And I think most of us have that particular 4-digit number like taped on our desks because they can like remote in and fix anything that's going wrong like instantly.
Sure. Yeah.
No, we have a technology help desk, and then like if a Chromebook breaks, if a screen cracks, we can send those off to get fixed in-house, like in the district. So it's great. Most of our librarians are really great like in-house technology resources in terms of like, hey, I want to do this thing, but I don't have this cord. Guaranteed they have it.
Yeah.
They're magical.
Cool. Yeah. IT always does.
Listen. My last favorite piece of hardware is, I don't even know what this version is called, but when we first got one, they were called Elmos. I don't know why. I think that was the brand or whatever.
Is it like
Go ahead.
Is it like an owl? Like we have owls. Is it like an owl? Like, is it like a video streaming thing?
An Elmo is like
goodbye.
And I'm done.
And I'm done.
Our Elmo is like the 21st century version of an overhead projector. Like
Oh, sure.
So, but it's
like a document camera.
a document camera. Thank you. Why can I not come up with that? But yeah, the brand that we started with, I think, was called an Elmo, and it's magical to be able to just like cast basically a piece of paper, and especially when I'm teaching like the GT math unit, to be like, okay, let's go over this together, and they're just looking at my paper as I'm doing it, like on my desk.
Be able to write on something that's
Yes,
like, by hand.
right.
Yeah.
Because then I can have just a copy of whatever it is that they're working on and do it right in front of me, so they're looking at an example happening live, and it's
But you don't have to have the lights off and
right. Don't have to have the lights off. I don't need like my wet erase markers and my transparencies.
Yeah.
Listen, my like first, it was probably still in my first year of college. We had to make transparencies for part of a presentation for a project.
Oh boy.
I sure did. So it's been a minute. This is the modern transparencies. Everyone should get a document camera. They're incredible.
I'm trying to remember it.
And especially for like, there was one of the schools that I student taught at in Wisconsin did not have like, you didn't have a projector in every room. You didn't have all that, but you didn't have like an actual like a digital projector. So I, like as a student teacher, used an overhead projector and transparencies.
I'm pretty sure I had college classes that were still using transparencies.
So
wow.
Gone are those days.
And we have document projectors in all of our rooms at the college I work at.
It's fantastic. And during like COVID times, like if you're trying to record like some kind of instructional video, like those were great because like I could just voice over what I was doing and then upload it with the assignment for an example. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Moving on, in terms of software, I said with our Chromebooks we use the Google Suite for everything. And mainly we have Google Classroom. So you set up at the beginning of every trimester, I set up a classroom, upload all of my students into there, and then I can, post assignments. Like I can put an assignment on there, and it's interactive down to in such a way where I can upload a Google Doc. But then one of my options that I can use is to make a copy for every student. So when they open the assignment, it will like auto copy it for them so that they can now write in the document, but now it's not my original document. And then they can just, when they're finished typing in this document, they press turn in on Google Classroom. And then on my end, I can see, hey, this student turned in this assignment, and I can see it completed on my end. And there's an option for like even scoring and grading on there. Like you can set it at the beginning. Here's how many points it's worth. Here's when it's due. Here's all the stuff. And so I can then grade it in there and leave comments and everything. It's entirely digital. It's magic. And you can even, if you get real fancy, you can schedule things to post ahead of time. So I do about 1 week at a time where I'll post the bell work for that week. So I'll have it scheduled. So like tomorrow at 8:00, the bell work for my first period will post on Google Classroom.
Nice.
And I'm done.
That's
it's
amazing.
magical. Which the follow-up is for bell work, I use Google Forms, where you can put in, you form like a survey, you can put in like your name, you put in whatever, but you can also Google has an option to set a Google form as a quiz, where I can go in there and put like, this is the correct answer, here's how many points it's worth. And so it will auto grade for me.
Wow.
And like even has like analytics.
So why are they even paying you now?
Because I still have to do all that. Why are they even paying me? And it has like, the nice thing too is it has like analytics. Like it'll show you like a bell curve of to like how many students got each question right, which questions were missed most often, and then you can break it down by individual student to get like a score for them. Like it's amazing. And you have to set that all up. It's not just like, hey Google, I need a form that does this. Like you have to do it. So you have to put in the questions and put in all the possible answers and pick which is the right answer and how many points is it worth and how many, like, it's a lot on the creating end.
Say.
But then like I have for reading, I have a set of 6th grade bell work, a set of 7th grade bell work, and a set of 8th grade bell work that I've used 4 years in a row now, where I know like it's gonna, like I've already done it. It took me a lot 4 years ago to set all this up, but now it's done for me. And it'll grade it for me, and I just have to go in every day and be like, oh, Johnny got 5 out of 5, Susie got 4 out of 5, and write down the grades or whatever it may be.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, like, as we all know, I'm terrible with Google situations.
I am Google certified.
And I've good for you. I use all like Microsoft products at work, and then at home I use all Apple products. So I'm like, so what Jake always is like, use this Google thing, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Well, here's the thing.
I can't make that work.
Like, I have an iPhone.
Only been around 20 plus.
Shut up. I have an iPhone. I tried to switch to a Google phone when Jake first did, and I couldn't do it. Like, I'm here for my iPhone. But like education wise, it's all Google. Like, we have Gmail, we use Google Calendar, it is all Google. And like, that's the nice with teaching, you can get certified. Like, you can take, Google has tests that you can take to become a Google certified educator.
Yeah.
That helps you like
cool.
learn the different stuff and things. Like, it's great. So, but then here's my next question. With all of this stuff, how do teachers manage student technology use in the classroom? With all these things we can have kids
By
do
hand.
in a Chromebook. How do we manage it? Jake says by hand.
How do you?
Well, I think, like your librarian actually helps out with a lot of this stuff. So,
I'm talking about like
keeping inventory.
I'm not even talking about like managing like where the Chromebooks are. I'm talking about like you've got 20, 30 kids in a room all on a Chromebook. How do you manage what they're doing actively right then in front of you?
Okay, I kind of know that.
You rely heavily on the firewall.
Firewall's great and whatever, but middle schoolers are ingenious.
You rely heavily on your stunning personality to scare the shit out of them to not do anything that they shouldn't be doing.
I rely on my stunning personality very often. More so, I rely on a magical program called Go Guardian. It's amazing. So, at the foundational level, this particular program, I can pull up on my computer I can see every single screen all at once on my computer. Like what they're doing on their Chromebook. I've got 20 different mini icons of what's on their computer with this program.
Wow. That's cool. So when one of them starts watching porn, you can catch it right away.
Well, they can't get that far. But the fun, and I've seen so many like Instagram reels and like TikToks about it. Like the joy, I can physically close a tab that they're on from my computer, and the joy that I get when they're playing a game and they're not supposed to be, and I get to close it out, and they like from across the room are like, what happened? And I can just sit at my desk like maniacally laughing like, you weren't supposed to be on that. Wouldn't you like to know? Oh, they know. Like, this is, like, they've used this for years. Another thing with that particular program, the way I have mine set up, you can set up what they call scenes, which makes it so the students, scenes and schedules. So I have it scheduled to Go Guardian will turn on automatically at the beginning of my class and turn off at the end of my class every day, in every class.
Okay.
And then I have it set up so a scene is automatically applied. And you can, as a teacher on the back end with those scenes, you can basically manually enter, here's the websites I want to allow them to have access to. And it won't let them go anywhere else. They get a screen that says, uh-oh, you've tried reaching somewhere your teacher doesn't want you to. So I can set it as like, you can only get on Google Classroom, school email, Infinite Campus to check your grades, whatever it may be, and it won't let them anywhere else.
I've got kind of a random question.
Sure.
So obviously, like, you're a fairly proficient user of all this software and hardware. So one thing that happens a lot, like in my job, is that we get like a piece of software that has lots of features, but people don't spend the time to learn how to use especially advanced features. So like, what's your opinion on the general proficiency across the set of teachers? Like, are you really like the only one that's taking advantage of a lot of these things, or do the teachers like generally pretty good?
A little bit of both. I feel like I am generally speaking an early adopter of a lot of these things. Like the minute we can, like I knew about Go Guardian before we got Go Guardian and was like, we need something like this. So when we got Go Guardian, I'm like, let me play with all the things and figure this out and how to do it. And so not everyone is that way like that, but I feel like twofold. Our district does a really good job of providing technology training. So we, every summer, one of our PD options is called the Tech Summit. And it's usually different sessions you can sign up for. So it'll be like Go Guardian 101, how to use your ViewSonic board. Like I taught a ViewSonic one when we first got ViewSonic boards about like all the different features and things you can use with it and how to like cast from your computer and how to use it as a whiteboard and how to like I did that. But we have a whole tech summit where teachers can like learn all those things. And then I think a lot of it is word of mouth. Like, you know, you're sitting in the break room like, oh gosh, I cannot get these kids to stop getting on cool math games. And you can be like, well, if you set this up this way on Go Guardian, I can come and show you how. And so I feel like a lot of it is stuff like that, where it's like there are enough teachers that will do it and enjoy doing it and like are early adopters to some of the technology things that it ends up being a word of mouth thing where like, hey, this is a really cool thing on Go Guardian. Have you seen it? Oh no, but I'd like to know how. Cool. I'll come in your planning and show you how. So I think there is a little bit of a learning curve. Anytime we get anything new, it's a minute of like, oh my God, something new. And then people are like, oh wait, this will actually help me. I think that answer it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you started with my last question, which is where and how do teachers learn new technology?
Ooh, you're on your own for that one.
That's okay. Jake stole it with his question.
Yeah.
He stole my question with his question. So we have a tech summit every year where, you know, like it is an entire day of different technology related professional development. And it's usually like a choose your own session type thing where you can go to 5 different sessions today and each of them are something different.
We also think that training is good enough that the people are getting trained well enough that they can go back to the classroom and actually use the
I think
stuff.
So. And then the other thing, it's usually 9 out of 10, especially with our tech summit. Okay, here's the other fun thing. Teachers have to do professional development every summer. However, there is no funding for professional development.
Of course.
We have to do 24 hours of professional development, but there's no funding for it. So we get a little creative. So we do like, we can't hire presenters. We can't like, there's no money for stuff like that. So most of like those sessions are being taught by teachers in the district. So 90% of them are super comfortable like giving out like, hey, if you get into your classroom and try this thing and don't remember how to, here's my email. Here's my presentation. Here's my notes. Here's all the like, and are totally cool with sharing everything.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing too. We have this year we had an AI fellowship. Now that AI has become a much bigger thing, we have a technology coordinator for the district. She's our tech guru. Sent out an email saying like, hey, if there's anyone wanting to learn more about AI, really interested in using AI in the classroom, we're going to do an AI fellowship where we, you know, meet up a couple times, share ideas, stuff like that. And so I signed up for that real quick because I'm like, yep. Because I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them. Like the kids are going to use it. I might as well beat them to it. Like I'm going to do a better job. So we have a lot of things like that
for sure
going on. Like when we first got all the Google suite of stuff, there was a big push for getting Google certified. And so there was, you know, time to do that and ways to do that. And we had a Google fellowship where we could go to these trainings and stuff like that. We also, it's the International Society for Technology Education is the big organization. On a smaller scale, we have the Kentucky Society for Technology Education, KISTE, and they have a conference up in Louisville every year. It's like a 3-day conference where it's all tech stuff. And there are tech companies and tech brands and presentations and sessions you can go to, and a lot of like teachers and librarians and people that are using the technology in the districts do the presenting at those sessions. And so there are, like, if you want to know more about technology as a teacher, there are 100 pathways to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's my shtick. I'm here for it. I'm here for technology. Like, if you can find a way to use it to make your life easier, do it.
It's redefining, it's redefining education every single day.
And it has to. Like, we have to keep up. Like, it is 2025. Well, yeah. There's going to be technology.
100%. Right. You have to be on the forefront of it as educators, because otherwise students are going to be not outsmarting you, but like they're going to, like, students will learn it before we can as leaders or educators or whatever. Right.
And they're going to learn it regardless. I might as well frame it in a way where it's going to be like useful to them. It's going to be safe. It's going to be structured. They're going to learn it in a responsible and appropriate way.
But also at like a
Yeah.
fundamental level, like a chalkboard, a piece of paper, and just standing in front of a class, kind of has its own limitations. So we have developed these things that can really present things in a different way, give you more tools to,
That teach the content more interactively.
interactively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's
More
Yeah.
engaging.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And it's so like even with something as basic as using Google Classroom, it's so fluid in terms of like the science unit that I'm on right now is very like self-paced, not self-paced, but they're working in groups. And so as their group finishes things, I can be like, okay, who in your group turned in the assignment? Let me pull it up real quick and check it. Like just get a spot check and be like, okay, you're good. You can move on. And so to be able to do that like so quickly.
Instead of having to go one by one or around the
Right,
room. Yeah.
Right. Like, okay, who turned it in? Let me check it. Yep, you're good. Let me assign your next part.
I remember like 10th grade geometry. The teacher for that was like every day would spend probably 10 to 15 minutes of class time just going
walking around
person
the
to
classroom.
person to check that they did the homework.
Yep. Yeah, no, I can eyeball it because like if I just click on an assignment, it'll tell me like 10 students turned it in, 12 unturned in. I'd be like, cool, okay, you 12, go ahead and finish. Like I don't have to like I can know that ahead of time going into class. Like I don't have to wait for class to start and check who did the work. I know right now only 10 of you did the work. Go from there. It's magic.
Sure.
It is 21st century magic. That's the end of my technology shtick.
Cool. Well, those were great topics. I feel like I learned a lot about both. Definitely very interested in this bomb situation, but not in like a scary way.
We didn't even scratch
anyways,
the surface on like social and political, all those implications around that, which that's not really what we're here
we could do like an
for.
entire
But like
season.
the ending of Oppenheimer really hits hard for me, like with like just how much that changed the world with developing that technology.
Jake literally finally watched that movie on repeat like 2 weeks ago. Like had not seen it since we left the theaters. Like when we left the theaters.
Yeah.
But when it came out on Amazon, I remember saying like, oh, we can watch Oppenheimer again. And Jake was like, I don't think I can watch it again.
Yeah, I didn't know if I could watch that one again.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
heavy.
Also, just like as a physicist, you ask the questions about like, would you participate in that? It's like, I don't know. I'm sure most of them thought they're for the greater good.
Right.
But particularly if you haven't seen Oppenheimer, I think like the ending really was poignant for myself. But I mean, obviously everybody that's seen the film got it, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, next week, what are we talking about? I kind of know Jake and I like did a little bit of togetherness to give Kayla a topic, but I have no idea where Kayla is coming from, so I'm very interested.
I think I'm gonna assign Jake. I think we're gonna talk about like space travel, like we were talking about at the beginning, top of this episode. Let's go with some.
Okay, I got a question.
Okay, so
like within our solar system, or
yes.
Okay, it's like interstellar.
But like,
start small, Jake.
But
here.
like,
okay.
But like you can hit on like these. I don't really give a crap about like celeb tourism.
No, I just meant like the physics gets really wonky between like what we practically can do, and if you talk about like going like Star Trek, Star Wars type travel.
No, I'm talking about within our.
But
like I'm talking about both like manned spacecraft, but also like
got it.
Mars rovers, but also like James Webb Space Telescope or Voyager 2 or whatever.
Okay.
Can you also, though, I know we don't care totally about the celebrity situation, but I do want to dig into like the average human going up into space and like the details there.
Effects of
so,
space
like,
on
5
people.
minutes. Yeah, for like that short amount of time, because we did hit a little bit on like the effects of space for like long term. I think like maybe in our first episode we talked about it like very mildly. So I just think it would be interesting to just like comparative, like talk about space travel and like these people who are just going for like a couple minutes versus people who are there for a long time.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And also talking about like getting to the moon and whatnot.
Okay.
If you could reference the movie Armageddon at least twice, that'd be great.
Yeah, truly. I don't want to miss a thing here, so let's get there.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Jake for Kayla.
Kayla, basically, this one's just asking you about half of your job. I think we just want you to kind of talk about how gifted students get identified.
Okay.
As much as you can keep that to half an hour.
I'll say, listen, I've got about I have a mountain of research on that exact topic.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Like literally.
Yeah, just throw that away. We're talking
mountain.
about how they get it.
Okay, I can do that.
Identified. And maybe like how they get identified versus how they should be identified.
Ooh, I've got thought.
All right, so next week
Save
we start our 5-part series on
gifted identification.
And I will not be involved in those ones. I'm here for part 1.
Rude.
Cool. Well, tune in next week. And also, just a reminder, everybody follow us on Instagram at This Was Not.
This wasn't on the test.
At This Wasn't on the podcast. What is wrong with me? This wasn't on the test.
Do you want to talk about a 5-part series? We'll talk about what's wrong with you.
Okay, let's do it. I'm here for that one. So follow us on Instagram. This wasn't on the
YouTube,
test. Follow us
Podcasts.
anywhere that you get your podcasts. Yep. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, among
Amazon Music.
So yeah, thanks for following along. We are excited to have you back next week for This Wasn't on the Test.
Bye.
Bye.